go.
Let's
Welcome
go.
to On the Chain. This is Jeff here with co-host Chip. What's going on, everybody? Hopefully you're having an amazing week, an amazing day, an amazing weekend, an amazing whatever. Life. That's everything is perfect, rosy, and sunshine. Bunch of sunshine, unicorns, and rainbows. XRP to $1. That's what everybody wants to know. Will it get to $1? I'm looking at all these articles out there. I read an article today. Which one's going to hit $1 first? Dogecoin or XRP? How about Shiba Inu or XRP? Which can hit $1 first? That's a big question because XRP, there's a huge anticipation that when the SEC v Ripple case got some sort of judgment, got some sort of outcome, and all of a sudden XRP is a non-security, and then you look at the market, you're like, oh my God, it's actually heading back to 50 cents. Right now, it's hovering around 61 cents on the morning dial. What's going on, Chip? What is going to happen with everybody's beloved XRP? Can it go to $1? Can it go to all-time highs? Or is it going back to 20 cents? Which one hits $1 first? The Doge, the XRP? Maybe it's even XLM. That's where it gets exciting. We don't know. You don't know. I don't think anybody knows at this point. There's a lot to talk about. There is still a lot of positivities in the marketplace. Why? Because the crypto market is still very young, still developing, and there's a lot to talk about. Even the Coinbase SEC lawsuit, because there's lots of excitement going on there and a lot of similarities and parallels between Coinbase and Ripple.
Yeah.
In terms of the SEC overreach, Gary Gensler still up to no good. And there was this awesome, very funny video that came out from Stuart Alderoty. I think we're going to play it today because it was last week, but we didn't get to play it last week for you guys and have fun with it. So we're going to do that too. Chip, if you're ready to kick this thing off, I think I'm ready. Eric looks ready. Ferdy looks ready. And Alchemist, as always, looks ready. And Drew Fall too. Michael Murphy and Jim D was #1 in the chat today. Let's do this thing.
Are we saying officially going, Jeff? Are we going? Are we going? Are we doing it? Let's go.
Oh, let's go.
Welcome to On the Chain.
Welcome everybody to On the Chain, and I see Ferdy in there. So Ferdy and I had the opportunity to meet up in Miami, hang out, have an amazing afternoon together. Had some Cuban food, had some Segafredo, Jeff, your favorite coffee.
Favorite coffee in the whole world, except for Badass Yetis. That's #1.
Well, I was actually critiquing it a little bit. So I watched them grind it. I watched them do it. I was like, man, listen, Badass Yetis. Segafredo's got nothing on Badass Yetis. I was like, it's really good. And then a little Irish coffee in your honor too. A little Irish coffee with a little bit of Segafredo, which I have to say was outstanding. But just the company hanging out with Ferdy was amazing. I really enjoyed it. And gosh, we've known each other for like 5-6 years now. So the opportunity to meet somebody in the community that you have a lot of respect for, who laid a lot of the early groundwork. And if you guys don't know Ferdy, Ferdy's a legend in the community, especially with his blog posts. One of my favorite ones was the one with Witzewin, where he was cooking with Witzewin. It was just a different fun thing where it's like, hey, come on over, let's talk. All right, let's cook together. So that was like that was a fun one. And of course, all the stuff he did penned a couple with Hodor. Yeah, there was a DJ. There was a DJ in there in Segafredo.
A DJ at the coffee shop. But I'll tell you what. When I met Ferdy over in the Netherlands, and he brought me to a cool coffee shop on an old Olympic rowing course, which was really sweet. And we got
man. So that's like the distinction we have is we both have met Ferdy, but you met him in European soil. I met him on U.S. soil. And it could not have been hotter that day, Jeff. It was like 120 degrees with 140% humidity. It was like, we were just having a ball. We were laughing.
And what do you do when it's a hot day, Chip? You go and get coffee.
You have to go get coffee. Speaking of coffee, today's episode brought to you by? That's right, Badass Yetis Coffee. I am drinking the Noir Symphony today, the whole bean. It's a 6-bean mixture, which is fantastic. And also, too, got this one here. Link is in the description, but if you guys know, this is the Obsidian Bold, which if you like a really dark French roast, this is it right here. And if you're more like a 6-bean sort of a blend, it's what I'm drinking this morning. Of course, we have Brewed Awakening, which is a breakfast one. But what I wanted to shine some attention on this, Jeff. Let me drop this
XRP,
in there.
Bitcoin.
No, we'll get to it. We'll get to that.
Dogecoin.
We'll get to that too. But a lot of you, I want to see where you guys are. So the folks in there, we made this move because the community pushed us to make it. We thank you guys for that, because a lot of people came in here and they said, you know what? I really want to get one of those badass Yetis, but here's the deal. I don't want to spend my XRP, right? I'm hodling. I don't want to spend it. So we joined forces with Super Mojo, Craig DeWitt, at Crypto Cowboy over there, former Rippler. I think he spent 7-8 years there. And he went ahead and founded with another Rippler, the Super Mojo. And this is a really cool thing.
Very cool concept.
They're going to go a lot of different places with this. But right now, I dropped the link in there. You can see it. It's OTC1.1/Super Mojo. And that'll bring you over here. And there's a little video and stuff. But then you can see all the badass Yetis up there. And you can just click this pay with credit card.
It's very cool.
What this thing does is it comes up. You put your phone number in there. You put your credit details in there. And you own a badass Yeti. What it does, it puts it in a wallet for you, because part of this thing has been the adoption. It's like, oh, it's so simple. You go to Uphold, you buy XRP, you open up a sub wallet, then you write down your seed phrase, put that in a secret special place you'll never forget and never lose it. And then you move the XRP over there. Then you connect your wallet. You go over to xrp.cafe and you connect your wallet. It is pretty seamless once you get to that point. Right,
and then you can move it anywhere. You can move it anywhere you want. You don't have to leave it over on Super Mojo. The idea here, Super Mojo is building in the community. They're building on the XRPL. They're streamlining and mainstreaming the adoption of utility for XRPL. And I like the direction they're moving in. So putting some NFTs over on their platform, I think this is just the beginning for them. If you go to Super Mojo, was it supermojo.com or is it supermojo.com, right? What's their main website?
Supermojo.com.
Yeah, their main is .com. So go check out supermojo.com. Also,
no, don't go there.
Dig in.
Hang on a second.
Well,
don't go there, because if you go there, you will not be able to find these.
My point is talking about the Super Mojo. Going to check out the badass Yetis on Super Mojo is a completely different thing. You want to go to OTC.1/Super Mojo. But if you want to read about Super Mojo, what they're doing in the space, some of the products, you can look at the direction that they're moving in for mainstream adoption. For us, putting the NFTs over there, super exciting, because we're supporting the development in the community, developing or supporting development in general of utility of the XRPL and seeing things that are going mainstream. That's exciting. That's, Chip, what you were referencing. You know, if the average person goes in, they're like, oh, how do I get in? How do I start working with the blockchain and XRPL? Well, go to Super Mojo and you can see the simplicity of it. Use a credit card. Now you own an NFT. You don't even have to own digital asset first. Now all of a sudden you're owning an NFT and you're like, wow, that's mainstream adoption. Simple, easy, get it. And now all of a sudden you can start figuring things out. Look at all these companies that are involved.
It says we're super backed. So you got Draper in there. You got Crossbeam Ventures. A lot of these names you probably recognize. Redbeard Ventures, Gemini, Circle, Ripple, Intersection, Every Realm, and then Arrington Capital over there. And some names you might not recognize. But again, it just shows you that it's well backed, and where they're going to take the where they're going to go with this is going to be an amazing concept. Also, too, on another interview, too, I was watching Aaron McDonald, who's the founder of the Futureverse, and he put out I got to see if I can get this video transferred over here, because I've been meaning to tweet it all week since I watched this really good interview. It was on another channel, and I go to the channel, and it's like really well done, really well produced, and they had they have like less than 15,000 subscribers, and I'm like, here's an amazing channel doing really good work. Great interview. I know Crypto Eddie had tweeted about it. X'd about it. What do you say? X'd now, Jeff? It's X'd.
X'd it.
X'd it. She X'd it. I don't know. She sent it out too, but I'd already watched it before that. And the first comment I dropped in there was like, you guys should have like 240,000 subscribers. That's how well your show is done. And they do all about, Web3 stuff. It's all Web3. And maybe we're not there with Web3 yet. I would like to do more Web3 stuff, Jeff, because it's just exciting.
I think so too. I like the the direction that we have the opportunity now as well to move and talk about more development in this space. We got very XRP centric, very SEC v Ripple centric. There's a lot going on in Web3 development, lots of technology out there. That podcast platform, those guys did a phenomenal job. And I was shocked to see the viewer count. And this always brings me back. I always cycle back through and see what kind of titles, what kind of topics are getting content and these views. There's these videos out there, $10,000 to $50,000 XRP. When's it going to happen? Guaranteed by end of August, right? And then you see the view count. It's 30,000, 40,000 views. And it's just like people are gravitated to hype and FOMO, right? And FUD on the other side. And then what happens? We put like a little, spin on the FOMO on ours, and people are like, "Oh my God, this is clickbait. You guys are clickbait. I'm unsubscribing." Right? And I look, when you have quality content out there, to this other podcast you're referencing, these guys did a great job. Low view count. It's hard to break in to the space, to get it into appeal and to appease everybody, but I thought, these guys did a pretty, outstanding job as well. And they cover some really good content. So
this is it's called CraigO's Crypto Corner, and they did an amazing job with Shara and Aaron from over there from the Futureverse. And I'm really excited about the Futureverse and what they're doing, especially what they're doing with interoperability and this some of the new pieces that they've added. And plus, if you guys remember, they just got a really nice infusion of capital, 53 million they just raised. Ripple was one of them, but a lot of great names in there as well. So you can see that it's being. But CraigO, guys, I want to just throw this in there because I think if you're really interested in this, I'm gonna in the future of Web3 and what's going on, I'll drop that in there. But 573 subscribers, Jeff. It's sad for how amazing well this content is done. And the interview was conducted. It's even better than some of the stuff I see out there with 300,000, 500,000.
So much better, man. There's so much garbage in this space, and it takes time for people to sort through the noise. Unfortunately, there's still a lot of fake news that's being published out there, and people are gravitated to it, just like in the beginning days. Just like Alchemist is saying, here's what it's all about. It's all about cartoon bears and riddlers. And he's saying a public service announcement, cartoon bears and riddlers lie. But that was the fun part of the space, right? We get in, it's like, okay, hey, when 589, when where are the cartoon bears? Where are all the riddles? Here's the riddles, interwoven, messages and secret outcomes and all this stuff. And people like that. People do love that stuff, and then there's the serious aspect and the technology and the development and all of that good stuff. So that's what we're going to focus on, the fun. Slowly focus on the fun.
I'm gonna play this, Jeff, because this is a really.
I can hear it. It's on his phone. That's why.
Understanding.
You hear that?
It's important to change the.
That's what he says about NFTs. This is nailed it so much.
Calling NFTs was like the dumbest mistake we could have ever done. It's like going out and like marketing your business based on the fact that you use PDF as a standard to like transmit documents. It's just really stupid.
I was like, that's the most funny. Succinct. That's like the most succinct.
What a
perfect way to describe NFTs. I've hated the word NFT. Non-fungible tokens. It confuses people. Like it's kind of like I remember back in the 90s, Jeff. It's like, if you were working on a website or building websites, you were a webmaster. But if you were a female doing it, you were a web mistress. And that went by the wayside pretty quick. But we're stuck with this NFT garbage, which I think is just it's a little bit over the top.
It'll take time though.
It'll take time, but it just doesn't. When people think of NFTs, they think of Bored Apes. They think of
True.
I don't know.
Just from a graphic perspective, and the NFT space, I think to your point and what he's probably referencing is that the larger opportunity, for the NFT space is more than just a graphic. It's more than just a JPEG. There's going to be so much more utility behind that NFT, especially when we start tokenizing assets and we start seeing the ownership certificate of that tokenized asset becomes an NFT. You know, that's just like one little fragment of it. So your signed copy, your notarized version of your holding of that real estate will be an NFT. You know,
Yeah.
so like a PDF. Now you put that PDF into a DocuSign, it's digitally signed. So are we going to start running around calling everything, hey, how's that? Hey, share that DocuSign with me.
Right. Share the
Where's the
PDF?
PDF?
What about the
Yeah.
PDF? Do you have the
What
PDF?
about the PDF? How about those PDFs? Do you like those PDFs, Chip? What are you doing with those PDFs?
Aaron dropped so many great
That's a
phenomenal things.
really great comment. I like that.
Big shout out, birthday shout out to BZ. It was his birthday yesterday, maybe like 2 days ago, because it's Australia. But big guys, please wish BZ a happy birthday.
When's his birthday?
I think it was yesterday or the day before, if I'm not mistaken.
You know who else? So Aaron's birthday was yesterday. He's now 14. Turned 14.
Man.
Obama's birthday was yesterday, August 4th. Jeff Gordon, the racer, born 1971 on August 4th. Big birthdays. There were a lot of big celebrations being had yesterday, and it seems like said BZ also. Look at that. Lots of birthdays being celebrated.
Yeah, I got on my birthday, there's a couple famous people as well. I think that people probably don't even know who they are anymore. Like they're old and everything, but you know.
We know Chip.
You know what happens, Jeff? You're just like, it just creeps up on you. 1 minute you're sitting there having a great time, you're in your 20s. The next thing you turn around, you're like, what happened? I don't know what happened. Something happened. Well, let's jump into some news here. I wanted to do this. You know, John Deaton has taken a little bit of a break. Turns out he's over in London visiting his daughters. And his daughter told him, hey, take a break from work, the SEC, crypto, XRP, like just chill out from all that. You've been so ingrained in that. And as soon as she says that, he starts laughing and looks across the street. And she's like, well, why are you laughing? And then he sees this. He sees this across the street.
Oh, that's brilliant.
And it's like, you know, Ripple Plus, whatever it is. So anyway, he looks across and there's always a constant reminder going on there. I thought that was absolutely
can never forget.
Can't forget, right, Jeff? It's like, so I thought that was pretty on point. What else do we got here? Let's see. Let us see, Jeff. What do we got here? It's got to be some.
Here's what we've got here, Thomas Brennan. Folks, we might get On the Chain to double their subscription numbers if we share this every time we listen. That is a much appreciated comment, and how great that would be. You know, I always say that, you know, you host a meeting someplace and you get 20, 30 people to show up, and you're like, hey, if you all invited one guest with you to come to the meeting, you would have had 40 to 60 people. You know, I'm thinking this politically speaking,
and Jeff, I thought you were,
politics, but here, same thing.
You're talking about multi-level marketing.
No, for politics. Bring a friend.
3-hour presentation.
So so I run a political anyhow. So, but this is really important. So from that, if you guys just tweet it out every time there's a show, say, hey, we love this show. Why don't you guys join us over here on the chain? And I like Thomas's thought process there. We could immediately, you know, double those numbers. Imagine if we had 2 alchemists. How great would that be? 2 of them.
There's only one alchemist, Jeff. That's an original. But we could have alchemist alike or
Alchemist Junior.
Alchemist, but yeah, Alchemist Junior. There you go. Alchemist Junior. Next thing you know, there'll be somebody coming in with their name Alchemist Junior.
Alchemist Junior.
We have Dinosaur Junior. Why not Alchemist Junior? But anyway, we have so Ripple. You know, you guys have heard of Ripple before, right? I think
nope.
No stranger. Never heard of it.
Nope.
So they put out this here, the Q2 2023 XRP market reports live. Took a different approach this quarter, and they focused on the landmark court ruling, debunking misconceptions on Ripple's XRP holdings, because, Jeff, the internet has been just fraught with all kinds of bizarrities. I mean, the people don't even understand, can't even read a case, but they focused on the victory from 2020 on to 2.5 years later, where Ripple's, you know, Chris Larson and Brad Garlinghouse vindicated. July 13th, court unequivocally ruled that XRP in of itself is not a security. XRP, along with BTC, now are the only 2 digital assets in the United States with that clarity although the court's decision sets a key precedent that other markets participants can rely on. And Jeff, this is becoming really important, especially to Coinbase.
Vital.
It's just incredible. It's like now you have John Deaton representing, what is it, 4,000 or 5,000 now, maybe, Coinbase? Coinbase holders are people that are on Coinbase. So you got that same sort of ramp up where they're like, hey, they want to be represented.
They
do. I love this line right here. SEC's misguided campaign of regulation by enforcement has been exposed for what it is, a strategy of intimidation, misinformation, and furtherance of its own quest for political power. Man, that gloves are off, Jeff. Mr. Gensler's oft-repeated statement that all crypto tokens, except Bitcoin, are securities subject to the SEC's jurisdiction has now been firmly debunked. And what this has done is this has put Gary Gensler into the fetal position, crying like a little baby, crying and asking for mommy. He's just really been neutered. And the funny part about it is, Jeff, is he seems to have abandoned the whole let's go after crypto. And now he's focusing, and the SEC is starting to focus on AI. We didn't need your help in the digital token space, the digital asset space. We certainly don't need your help in the AI space. And there certainly is no precedent. There's nothing in, Jeff, and correct me if I'm wrong, since it's AI is so new, there's nothing.
Why would the SEC even dip their toe in the AI? It has nothing to do with it until one of these companies, starts selling off stock shares. Unless there's a reason, then why is he even dipping his toe over there? It's so this guy is just he's a control freak. The guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Just like most of those unelected bureaucrats within this administration, there's a whole bunch of them that they don't know the numbers, they don't know the facts, they don't know what they're even there to represent. They've been appointed. They don't even know why. They're holding leadership positions. They're not qualified to hold leadership positions. I want a leader to be a leader. I want a leader to be knowledgeable. I want a leader to come and present fact, not fiction. And that's all these guys do with every step. And it's so disconcerting to see the direction that these unelected bureaucrats have decided to go in. And this one has been put in his place. And it's so good to see that. Yeah. But man, and now we're starting to see, like you brought up Coinbase, very important. And there's a great article we'll talk about in a little bit. The SEC has violated due process, and that there's a motion to dismiss the lawsuit from Coinbase. And we're going to see this over and over and over again. The zealot that's sitting in the SEC.
And quite honestly, I don't know there would have been the appetite to push hard on legislation. I know the red team was working on it.
True.
But this sort of seemed to cement everything. But I love what they talk about here. Number one, the first misconception, decision is a split decision. That's what we're hearing. Well, nobody understands, but sometimes it's security and sometimes it's not. It's like, well, you don't understand the idea of investment contract. You don't understand about how, when you're purchasing on an exchange, you don't know who you're purchasing it from. So there's so much that's lost on just like general concepts. But what's happened in the last 2.5 years is everybody in this space, everybody here on the OTC family have become experts in it. Now, you may not have cared about too much about this, but understanding the how to read something and understand what it means and understanding the Howey, the 4 prongs of the Howey test, that there's an investment contract, rely on the profit of others. And the fact is like it never even got to the 3rd or 4th prong because it's just the digital asset's never been in its of itself. And they also talk about the number 2, the decision says that XRP is a security in some settings and not in others. Not so. XRP itself is never a security. It's how it, As the court said, XRP is a digital token out of itself, an investment contract, therefore not a security.
It's how it's
just
packaged.
Like the orange grove, the gold. Yeah, it's always how it's packaged up. Misconception 3, a share of the stock is always a security. So it makes no sense that a certain transactions of XRP are securities and other transactions are not. The existence of an investment contract, special type of security separately defined by law, must be determined by the transaction by transaction basis. This is different from traditional share of stock, which under the law is always a security. So correct. This is such a simple concept that even legal minds, legal scholars out there, people that are security lawyers have missed this, Jeff. And it's just bizarre because it really talks about and speaks to the dogma and the belief so much in a certain narrative that no matter what evidence surfaces, no matter what comes to light, you're just focused on that dogma. Like you can't change your mind. You're holding on to that tightly. And it just seems to be sort of ridiculous, especially the maxis have been can't handle this.
No. So you Chip, this is a cup. It says Segfredo on it. This is not a security. I did not buy this as an investment contract in Segafredo. However, I appreciate the value of this cup because it holds some roasted dark goodness, coffee, and it can hold any kind of coffee. I can put badass Yeti coffee in here. It doesn't have to be necessarily Segfredo. However, if I gave this to you with a promise of return, say, depending on how many of these cups you own, you're actually going to get a payout of our profit from the sale of coffee, then I'd be packaging this as a representation. This would then, that offer, could then be deemed a security, because depending on how many of these hold, will make a determination on how much of the profit you get from our coffee sales. But the cup itself, this cup is just a cup, just like XRP is just an XRP. However, just like XRP, Chip, if I said, hey, this cup is valuable to you, and I'll trade you this cup for a bag of coffee, and you'll say, hey, that's an awesome trade. Still not a security, by the way.
Yeah, it's like baseball cards, baseball cards, collectibles and stuff like that. But the oranges were it's never been ever since that Howey test, the actual instrument itself, to chinchillas, the whiskey, everything that John Deaton always kind of like brings home and talks an awful lot about. And for some reason, I don't know, people just having a tough time with it, Jeff. I don't know. They just pretty much, they for whatever reason, they can't handle it. And I wanted to kind of like talk about this next. This is one of the most important things I think the Ripple's put out in a long time. It's like misconception 5, the decision makes it impossible for Ripple to do business. Since the SEC filed the lawsuit in 2020, the vast majority of Ripple's customers and counterparties have been outside the U.S. All the expansion's been outside the U.S. So what have they really done? They forced, Ripple's just doing business because
elsewhere.
No U.S. Yeah, elsewhere. You're going to celebrate the fact that Ripple and everybody else, even Stuart Alderoty came out the other day and said, listen, he was in a podcast that Crypto Eddie had posted a little snippet from, and he basically said, look, regardless of this ruling, if you have a blockchain business, get out of the U.S. Until there's regulatory clarity, it's still muddy. It's smooth sailing for Ripple, but for everybody else, you're going to go through the same stuff. Look what Coinbase is going through.
Coinbase is going through a bunch of shit, and here, some of the issue, especially with Coinbase came to the table, right? You can argue, hey, maybe Ripple didn't come to the table to talk to the SEC, although they did. But you can't say the same thing with Coinbase. Coinbase is actually listed, and they have a stock. It's called Coin. They had to go to the SEC. They had to get approval for that. They had to share their entire outlook, their business plan. They had to show current business plus future business. They had to show their whole plan moving forward, which included, interest and everything they have packaged up over there. So for the SEC to come now and say you're doing something wrong, there's something wrong with that component of it, all in all, because they've already reviewed it. They've already given them the approval. They've given them their blessing. That's how they were able to start trading stock. It makes no sense. If the SEC could come out and say, hey, this was a big surprise to us, you hid all of this information from us, that's a whole different story, right? And it's so disingenuous to see what they're doing. And it's very obvious what they're doing by pushing all of this offshore. They're trying to disrupt the flow of this new financial asset. They're trying to disrupt any of the exchanges. They're not doing this to protect retail. They're doing this strictly as a power move, as a power grab, to maintain for the old money, the old power hold. And they're trying to make way to allow for the banking infrastructure to own this space. And that's exactly what they're trying to do. So if you can undermine everything, you either destroy it or you transfer power. And they're trying to move power. They see it as a direct threat. They're trying to move power away from the techies. So you think about all the ownership of all these exchanges. These are all tech guys. And it's great to see, even with Elon Musk with X. If you think about what his objective with X is to turn X into a financial powerhouse. And we'll see if he achieves that, because he's been planning this for the past 2 decades to see what he can do with X. Is he too late to the game? Can he get into crypto? What's going to happen with it? But all of this infrastructure is a direct threat. Even PayPal in the early years was seen as a direct threat, and they tried to undermine even PayPal in the early days. And so think about all of this, everything that's happening. It's moving at such a rapid pace. They're trying to slow it down. They're trying to figure out how they can get in. I think Visa, MasterCard already lightning years ahead of where the banking infrastructure is, because they're already figuring out their ways to achieve. It's a very interesting outcome and power struggle. And the great news about all of this, Chip, is that the unelected bureaucrats' time in office is limited.
Limited. I like that a lot, Jeff. Look at this. Speaking of unelected bureaucrats. Hang on a second. What's going on?
Bureaucrats.
Bureaucrats. So you have Gary Gensler here. He put out another video, Jeff. Look at this right here.
Oh God, real. Is this
guy really can't get enough? He really thinks highly of himself.
Let's play this one. Let's play Stu's video, because no one sees Stu's video.
Should you consider day trading? What is an ESG fund? Where do you even start with investing?
Squash.
Now, you may be saying, Gary, I already know how to invest. And while that may be true, even seasoned investors can learn a thing or two, especially in today's high-tech, fast-paced investing world. On investor.gov, a site that the Securities and Exchange Commission maintains.
Okay, that's all you really need to see, Jeff.
That's where I'm going to learn. I'm going to a .gov site to learn about stock trading. That's where I'm going. Yeah, right.
You want, because
come on.
I mean, because who doesn't trust the government to set you straight, Jeff?
Holy shit! Like, let's not do that. That's a bad idea.
It's a really bad idea, and it's like, Gary, you probably ask, listen, Gary, well, here's what we're saying: we don't need you. We don't need your help. We don't even want your help. You didn't protect investors. You're a complete, a disaster, a walking time bomb. But the best part about that was the counter to that, which was Stu Alderoty. And I think this might win video of the year, Jeff, because it is so phenomenal.
Oh, you're muted.
Oh. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, hang on a second. I had to, but let me go ahead and share this one, because we just watched the Gary Gensler office hours with that kitschy little music, right? That little silly thing. And now let's take a look at Stu Alderoty here. Sorry, I can't get it going just quick enough there, Jeff. Let's go here. There you go.
There he is. Stu. Oh, we can't hear no volume. Maybe turn it up. Digital ass.
But tell me if this looks familiar. Tell me if this isn't the ultimate troll. This is a 11. This is like a 4.0 in damage to Gary Gensler. And this is also one of the greatest things I've seen. Look at that. Let's just watch
digital
this.
Ass.
What do digital assets have to do with orange groves, barrels filled with whiskey, payphones? Who remembers those? And beavers? Well, it turns out a lot. None of those things, standing alone, are securities, but any one of them can be packaged into a contract for an investment that may be a security. Huh?
After hours. Let's do all the
oh my God, this is awesome.
Down a bit. The law lists a bunch of things that are securities. That list includes things you ordinarily think of, like a share of stock. Why is a share of stock always a security? If you own a share of stock in, let's say, Apple, Apple owes you a fiduciary duty, and you can hold Apple accountable if they don't fulfill those obligations. That's true no matter how you bought the stock or who sold it to you. But the law also includes something called an investment contract in the list of things considered a security. An investment contract is not like a traditional share of stock. And anyone who tells you that, well, let's just say they're trying to confuse.
Awesome.
Gary Gensler.
Investment contracts are contracts that I sell to you with the promise that I'm going to take the money you gave me and do things to increase the value of your investment. I can take a bunch of orange groves and sell those to you. That's not an investment contract. Or I can sell you some of those orange groves as part of a larger set of promises to cultivate those groves, sell the oranges, and distribute the profits back to you. That's an investment contract. So, orange groves alone, whether I sell them to you or you buy them on an exchange, no investment contract. The very same orange groves, coupled with a promise that I sell directly to you, that I am going to work to make those orange groves profitable, that entire bundle of promises is an investment contract and therefore a security. But the orange groves alone are still just orange groves. Some would like you to think that a digital token can in and of itself be a digital asset security. It can't. Standing alone, it's just a commodity or a virtual currency. As a virtual currency, you may use it for a payment. As a commodity, you may trade it like gold or oil or pork bellies. Confused? Well, I don't blame you, because some
Thank you,
have
Gary.
been doing their best to confuse you for years. Because the Securities and Exchange Commission only has jurisdiction over securities, not orange groves, and they don't like that. Like a hammer, they want everything to be a nail. But the law doesn't work that way. While retail holders of crypto certainly deserve protection from bad actors, not all roads lead to the SEC. Pretending to have jurisdiction when there is none is simply a political power play. It helps no one. It hurts everyone. Remember, a token by itself, not an investment contract, despite what the SEC would have you believe. I hope that helps.
Hell yeah, it helps.
Dude, that was brilliant, because you see the squadoosh at first when, you know, he's talking about his .gov website and all of that to learn about investing. And then you have this. This is just so spot on. Stu Alderoty just hit this out of the park. You know, home run with this one. Just absolutely outstanding.
You remember the very first page of the 70-some page complaint drop lawsuit is the very first, the second paragraph said, called XRP a digital asset security.
Right. Oh yeah, they made that up.
We're gonna fool you with calling it a digital asset security.
Right.
So
they made it up. They made. How do you like that? How do you, the fact that the SEC, you know, with Gary, is trying to bamboozle everybody into believing certain things, and they're making up their own terminology. There is no such thing as a digital asset security. There's no such thing. It doesn't exist. It was a made up term by the powers that be, Gary, and that's it. No, everyone, remember when we read that at first? Everyone's like, "What's a digital asset security? Like, what does that even mean?" So in his mind, he saw it as a security. So they immediately reference it as a digital asset security. Granted, Gary wasn't the one to drop the lawsuit. However, in the complaint, he's the one to follow it up. But the SEC in general was the ones that were putting their spin on this. And that was very, you know, it's very bad. Very, very bad. Smash the likes. That's what we got to do, is smash the likes. That's what Hans.
I like when you yell at people, Jeff, because I smash the like. Oh, whoa, you just yell over here. What the hell?
Whoa. Who said that?
What the hell's going on there? It's
but
like,
this was in all capitals, so I had to yell it. It's not like,
that's right,
you know, just sentence structure wise.
Boom, click that like, click that subscribe button. There you go. Come on, guys. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. On the chain live. Look, it says 20,000. That was a long time ago, Jeff.
That was a long time ago. That needs to be updated a little bit. So Mark Smith said protection from bad actors like Gary Gensler. Yet Gary the Dweeb actually met with SBF multiple times. Follow the money. And that's a good point too, because FTX was the darling of Maxine Waters. Remember, She was blowing kisses over to SBF when he came in. One of the few that they brought in to the Financial Services Committee in front of Congress to actually help with drafting legislation for crypto. Wait a minute. And then, wait a minute. And then come to find out that FTX was involved in all sorts of shenanigans and SBF got arrested and all those good things. But you remember, they didn't really go to Brian Armstrong or any of the other Jesse Powell or any of the big leaders in the space. They didn't come to Brad Garlinghouse. They didn't come to anybody that's actually been working in the space for the past decade. They didn't ask, them about their advice about legislation. But you know who they did come to was the guy that was new to crypto. Their company came out of nowhere in 2018, became a mega donor to the Democrat Party in 2019. That's who they came to. That's who they decided to approach. You have to think about that, right? What is the inconsistency of logic when you bring someone brand new to the space, has no experience in tech, never built a tech company, never built a crypto asset company, brand new to it? We're going to go to you to help us draft legislation, not these guys that have been decades in tech, that have all built successful companies, that have been in high tech and understand the dynamics of what that takes. And they're now into crypto for the past 10, 12 years. Let's not go to those guys. Let's go to the new guy. So then you have to really consider that. There's something that just doesn't connect properly. And I think Stu Alderoty hit that out of the park with that short video. It all kind of starts making sense. That's what makes sense.
Yeah, he totally crushed that. I mean, 100%. Without a doubt. I mean, it's such a great troll. And he crossed off. He took the exact same animation. Instead of office hours, he made it after hours.
That was good too. I like that. I like the after hours.
Which was funny in itself. I thought that was a really good one. But Brad Garlinghouse, commenting on the reports we were just kind of reading through right there, he had this to say. Hello. He said, we began these market reports to voluntarily provide updates given our XRP holdings. Sadly, they were used against us in the SEC lawsuit. However, we remain steadfast in our commitment to transparency, but I suspect they're going to look a little bit different moving forward. And the funny thing about that is that these disclosures that they do are completely voluntary. And out of all of the organization, crypto type, companies out there, Ripple's been one of the few that has been massively transparent. They don't have to, but they do it on a monthly basis just so you can see where they stand. It's always good to be transparent and let people know so there's no misconceptions. And then Christian Lawrence pointed this out. One correction, Brad, when the SEC sued Ripple in 2020, $15 billion in XRP market cap was eviscerated at the expense of U.S. holders. It was all XRP holders. I'm Australian yet still, so my XRP value decayed because of the SEC's actions.
Correct.
Brad Garlinghouse said, "You're absolutely correct. We should have caught that. Thank you for pointing it out." And then he said, "Fixed." So he did.
I'm glad that there's people, and Brad responded to that. This is a global phenomenon. People all over the world are holding XRP. The 80,000 people that had joined John Deaton, people were from all over the world. This was direct damage to XRP holders on a global scale. Why? It wasn't because they just came after Ripple, but it was because the SEC made these ridiculous claims that Gary Gensler stood behind for the past 2 years, that XRP was a security. And he's still going after company after company after company with the claim that it's to protect retail investors. Well, you know what? With protection like that, who doesn't need enemies? I mean, it's absurd. It's crazy. They're undermining this space. They're slowing down the development of the space, and they're directly harming retail investors. I think there was no point in history where 80,000 people came out to support the defendant in a case like that and did not back the plaintiff. What's that?
Was it 80,000?
I think so. 78,
78,
79,
80.
Just
run up to 100. It was 300,000 people.
It was
definitely less than
I'm going to go to the nearest. I'm going to the nearest zero.
And more than
75,000. 80,000 is easy to talk about but I think it was somewhere between 75 to 80. 80 sounds good. 75 sounds pretty good too. say 75 to 80, say 1,000, 75 to
There you
80,000 people, 1,000 people, not just like 75 people, not 100 people. We're talking about tens of thousands of people
go to a
came out
football
against
stadium,
Gary.
and you know what that takes to fill that type of stadium. You realize that's a lot
All
of
those
people,
people.
man.
Do you know it would be amazing if we went to a stadium that could hold 100,000 people and we filled it with XRP? That would be amazing.
Michigan.
XRP supporters. We go to the big house.
10,000.
That'd be amazing at the Michigan Stadium. That'd
Look
be
at this
crazy.
right here.
You can have an XRP meetup.
With all this excitement over XRP, I put this tweet out, with a little help from XRP, I'm not at a place where I can get a Bugatti, a lovely earthy one made from mud. These kids,
I've seen these
students, I can't play the music for it, but I'm just going to show you as I'm talking about this, but I will play this. But they framed out they went and they dug up some clay. They grabbed clay, they made some clay, they took it together, they made the clay and all that stuff. They framed out the body for a Bugatti here, and they of course this is kind of like how the old style when they used to do concept cars, they make them out of clay and they do the body and everything. But these guys molded this thing, the precision, and it looks phenomenal. Then when they went, and I was told by Mike, they went back in and they firmed it up with some fiberglass. I think that's what it is, fiberglass in there. So then they went through that.
Toyota
they dropped a Toyota engine in there, and they got the frame. So the first day they drove the frame around. See that? You can see it's like fully functioning. Looks like a big old go-kart, and they're just like powering around the streets over there. And then what they did was they just cut everything out, put all of the lights. It's so funny. You look at the chairs themselves; they look like they're the fiberglass chairs. They scoot back and forth. This was a project that took them approximately about a year to complete.
Really
and
cool.
So what you're seeing is just like a very quick sort of just the key points, but you can see them just fabricating the pieces that they need, cutting them out, spraying them, doing the whole thing, buffing them. And then what they did was there they are. You can see them on the big model there you can see it starting to take shape, come into light, spraying everything together. And look at this. It's just really ingenious. And I don't know what it actually costs them to do. I mean, the labor itself is incredible. And if I were a Bugatti, I would be, I would give these kids a Bugatti, because this right here, you can't get any better. And then they are, right, Jeff? It's incredible.
I've seen a whole bunch of these where people are building them from the ground up. It's never going to be obviously exactly the same, but the ingenuity that these guys put in. Look at that. Look at how impressive that is. I mean, it's so amazing that they can do that, and it's perfect. Look at that thing, perfect. Look at it, it's so amazing. I wonder, once you have the clay, I saw someone bondoing up a car too. There was, and he put bricks inside of it and then bondoed it up with clay like that, and then shined it. It's really,
you gotta love that, Jeff. It's incredible, right?
It's super impressive. I love it.
It's super duper, super impressive. So
So Coinbase
looks like my '76 Plymouth Volare.
Yeah.
Mike Ross, it's truly a piece of art. Yeah, it was really incredible.
Incredible.
Let's see what else we have in here.
We've got this one right here. I'm going to pull up real quick. And this kind of goes back to, let me see. Man, fortunately, it's hard for me to read right now. And I'm just struggling over here. But here's the SEC has violated due process. Coinbase CLO on motion to dismiss lawsuit. Lawyers for Coinbase cited precedent. Check this out. They cited precedent from the SEC v. Ripple case, in which a judge ruled that XRP largely did not qualify as a security by the commission's standards. Already referencing that case because it's a complete overreach, and they need to have a motion to dismiss. U.S.-based crypto exchange Coinbase has filed a motion to dismiss a lawsuit brought by the SEC in June. And here's the filing with the Southern District of New York. Does that sound familiar? Oh yeah, Southern District. Yeah, for Coin filed a motion for judgment claiming the SEC had violated due process, abused its discretion, and its own earlier interpretations of the security law in asserting certain regulatory authority over the exchange. The legal precedent from the SEC v. Ripple case in which a judge ruled that XRP largely did not qualify as a security by the commission's existing standard. Now, the SEC had actually requested of Coinbase was to remove and delist all crypto assets except for Bitcoin. That was one of the things that they had asked for. But here you go. Today, Coinbase filed our brief asking the court to dismiss the SEC's case against us. Our core argument is simple. We do not offer investment contracts, as the term has been construed by decades of Supreme Court and other binding precedent. By ignoring, oh, come on, my mouse thingy's all messed up. Let's see. By ignoring the precedent, the SEC has violated due process, abused its discretion, abandoned its own earlier interpretation of securities law. By ignoring that precedent, the SEC has trampled the strict boundaries on its basic authority set by Congress. And that's solid. That came out yesterday. That is just solid. The SEC all over the place, man. They're just stepping on everybody's rights. They could,
well, they're done. Their time is done, but
they care less.
Yeah, I mean, it's over for them. I mean, the funny thing about it is like, one of the things that Coinbase had to go defend was like the 10, 12 digital assets that were named in the case. And it basically just eviscerated that argument, saying that, okay, if there's no precedent ever set and really reinforced with this Ripple summary judgment that the XRP is never the security, well, they just blew away. I mean, it just kind of crushed. It depends what the judge is going to come back with, but really the motion to dismiss should definitely be, and Jeff, you brought up this point too, is the fact that how do you go through the whole idea of going public and being review and everything's under a magnifying glass. There was no hidden agenda. It was all, these are the digital assets we have. This is what we do. We do staking. We do all this stuff. And then like it took a while, a couple of years later, let's sink in. I was like, oh, wait a minute. This might. So going after the exchanges, going after Coinbase majorly indebted to Ripple for taking on the SEC. And the funny part about it is, when you start connecting all the dots, Jeff, it's like, to think back, there's a couple of different ways we could look at this. But if you think about Gary Gensler really coming on and really trying to do this litigation enforcement type of routine that he's been doing. But if you look at Jay Clayton, I mean, Jay Clayton did give us a pretty good gift. It didn't look like a gift at the time, but filing this on the way out the door with the only organization probably out there that can actually defend itself and hire the best attorneys, maybe knowing that Congress would never act on this or act soon enough, or knowing that the haters who despise digital assets and sneaking these little bills into, I hate, there should never be pork in any bill that's passed. There should be single issue bills. We need the bills about X, not about Y, Z, and then every senator sneaks in their little thing they're going to bring back to their people. And look, I raised, we brought $4 million for a creation of a new blah, 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 right? That's what they call pork, because it's fat, because it's garbage that they add in these bills. And that latest one, Jeff, what did they just slip in? And it was Senator Warren along with Gillibrand and Lummis.
Into the defense bill.
Defense bill, but what did they sneak in there? The nefarious actions and trying to shake down people with taxes and everything else. It's like, again, they always focus on the negative side of stuff. They're always worried about their taxes, worried they're not going to get paid enough. They steal. Remember, all governments don't make anything. They simply take. They're takers. They create nothing. They only take from the people.
And then they pretend like they're out supporting the people, right? So that's
yeah.
Gary's mantra, right? I'm supporting retail. I'm here to protect retail investors. That's why we're doing this. We're here to protect you. It might be bad for you. You might be the collateral damage, but just remember, we're doing it for your own good. But that's exactly what's happening with some of those bills that they cram in there. They could give a crap about developing the space. Do you think Gillibrand and Elizabeth Warren and Lummis, do you think they really care about the future growth of crypto assets? Or are they just thinking about their own power struggle? And why do they have to cram it in and hide it? Why do you have to hide it? There were 783 plus amendments to the defense bill. Now, granted, you have to go back and forth. Sometimes you got to redline stuff. You want to change stuff. But a lot of it was just hidden agendas inside of a defense bill instead of it saying, hey, let's pass a pure if they were so confident about their crypto bill that they were trying to pass, then pass it as a crypto legislation. So it's very clear, very succinct, similar to what we're seeing coming out of the House right now, out of Financial Services Committee. Very, very clear. This is a crypto asset bill. This is what we're going to vote on. We don't have to cram it in and hide it on page, 8,262, because we know no one's ever going to read it, and we're just going to cram it in there, and then that's it. It's just too much. That's how DC works. That's what everybody says. Well, that's how it works. Get over with it. Get over it. But you know what? We don't like how it works, and we're not going to get over it. And it needs to change, and they need to get rid of that nonsense. Both sides do it. They all try to hide shit, and enough's enough. Do what you're hired to do. You're hired to support and represent the people. You're not hired to make $100 million on the back of the people. You don't go into Congress making $180,000 and become a multimillionaire. You're not the best trader in the world. You're obviously getting cush deals. It's just impossible. It's impossible to take $180,000 job a year, and you're supposed to be working full time, representing the people, getting elected every 2 years, and you spend 1 year in office, 1 year campaigning, 1 year in office, 1 year campaigning. That's your life. So where do you have time to start investing your money? And how do you have all that extra money to spend? Where does it come from? All those sweetheart book deals, speaking engagements, show the list. But if you don't have that list of book deals and speaking engagements, then obviously the funds are coming from someplace else.
Jeff, you nailed something really important, because I don't think a lot of people realize this. But if you ever notice that some politician who nobody cares about and likes, or has fallen out of favor, will write a book, and this is the best way to launder money. Sometimes you create artwork, and you sell artwork, and you say, like, guys, this was happening in the NFT space, where you're selling $2 million NFT. It's a great way to money launder, because this way here, you're like, oh no, I actually bought something. And like you could say, like President Son, you buy like the artwork or something for $500,000, like $500,000. But the best absolute way to money launder and give paybacks and do stuff undercover is to come out with a book, and it's like it's sold $2 million. And meanwhile, it sells, they get this massive payout up front, 10, 15, $20 million. Book never does anything. Sometimes people end up buying the book. This is the way you pay out people for favors, for special favors. And this happens all the time of these book deals. They don't go anywhere, but look at all the money that was up front. Like you fronted $10, $11 million, and it sells nowhere near the amount that it's going to need. Sometimes people will go just buy them all up. And this is where you go to Costco or BJ's, which are these these big warehouse clearings. They have a book section, and you will always find these books for super cheap there. It just stacks of them. Like, it's like originally it was like $19.95, and it's like there for $7 or something like that. Yeah. But Jeff, I wanted to throw this up here.
Okay. Just a final cap on what you said about that book deal, right? So most of them they immediately become bestsellers according to the New York Times, right? Become a New York Times bestseller. So they have to have a minimum of 5,000 sales, right? 5,000 books, minimum of 5,000 books have to sell, but they immediately become New York Times bestsellers, right? Before it even goes on sale, it's like all of a sudden it just went on sale. It's a New York Times bestseller. What? Like what? Like, really? Like nobody gives a crap, but somebody bought 5,000 books, boom, gone, right? And now it's a bestseller. And you're right. That's exactly sweetheart book deals all day long. Watch it, see what happens. You'll see politicians when they get ready to run for a bigger office, they ought to always have a book deal. And a lot of times they're prepaid for those book deals. They're fronted amount of money for a future book. So I'm not saying this was the case, but when Obama was running for president, right? He didn't have the cash. He got a multi-million-dollar book deal, and they fronted $1 million for his book that wasn't written yet. Not saying that any shenanigans, but just go back and look at things like that. That one stands out, but there was a lot of, that happens all the time. Just using that as an example. Hunter Biden, another good example, artwork. Nobody considers him an artist. And it's ridiculous that he's making, that he was selling that art at that kind of dollar. Speaking fee is another big one. When you're paying How much was
like Janet Yellen? Janet Yellen was getting $250,000 to show up and give a crappy speech for 20 minutes. Nobody attended.
$250,000. 250. Nobody's worth.
They used to call it payola in the record industry in the 70s and 80s. If you wanted something played, you would go to a record station and you would, an FM radio station. You would say like, "Here you go. You want to play this, right? A little bit of payola, maybe a little bit of drugs." It's like, yeah, I'll play that. And that's how you used to get that payola stuff. And then that was stolen from the politicians. So that's what they do, Jeff. And I saw this, and Julian Williams put this out, it's a great little thing about John Deaton explains investment contracts. He took all the little best bits about John Deaton, but then I started worrying about a picture of John Deaton, Jeff. Looks a little like, I was thinking it looks a little weird. I was like, that's John Deaton. I love what he put together here, but it's like
nice. It's hand drawn. He hand drew that picture.
And that's a hand drawn thing. And somebody said here, they said, why does he look like Derek Vineyard, otherwise known as Edward Norton?
Ed Norton. Oh my God, that's a good. Oh my God, that's a.
Oh yeah,
that's great.
It kind of looks a little bit like the
cross.
Like the cross
between John Deaton
character.
If they got to, that's funny.
But yeah, there you go, Jeff. That's what we have. That's what we have. That's what we have today.
All we have today.
This giant thing on my screen. We will be back tomorrow.
8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
8 p.m. Standard Time with some more fun, some more laughs, some more
Sunday fun day.
Sunday fun day. Sunday. One day only Sunday. Remember those commercials? The super trucks.
The super trucks.
Giant crushers.
Super on the chain.
Will destroy. Yeah.
Super on the chain. 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Sunday. So guys, also too, don't forget, I want to see where all those people were that really wanted to get those. Jeff and I worked really hard with Super Mojo to get those guys. Go get yourself a badass Yeti.
0.589.
Go get it on Super Mojo. If you don't want to get it on Super Mojo, then you can also get it over there.
XRP.cafe.
Yeah, I'm going to drop the link for the Badass Yetis coffee.
Badass Yetis coffee
brew.
That's right.
And of course, if you guys want to mint,
good stuff.
If you guys want to mint a Badass Yeti over there on XRP, by the way,
where do you get that? Where do you get that?
Well, you can get it over on. Hang on a second. I don't know what's going on. StreamYard is really annoying the hell out of me lately.
Mark Smithson, a time for another cup of the Badass Yetis coffee. Badass Yetis coffee is amazing. It's great. It's dark roasted, it's medium roasted, and it's light roasted.
We're getting close to sold out, Jeff. 67% out there. 67%.
67%.
33% left. That means we've sold more than almost 3/4 of that.
And the White Tribe is on its way.
The White Tribe is on its ways. And here's something too. We're gonna do a drop. You own a Badass Yeti, you're getting a White Tribe. So there you go. Some utility built in. You're getting a White Tribe member.
And Chip, we actually mixed it up a little bit too before, and we're going to announce that, but I believe we're going to switch that up now, right? We were going to do, it was a weird count and all that.
Yeah, we're talking about doing a one-to-one
count on the White Yeti.
Own 5 Badass Yetis, get 5 White Tribe members.
That's right.
10. Some people own 8, 9, 10 of these bad boys. You'll get 10 drops of the 10 mints of the, it'll be short time only. We can't keep it open forever, but when we do the mints, you'll have time to whitelist it. So you'll be able to go in there. And if you own whatever you have in your wallet, if you have 5, you'll be able to get 5 White Tribe. The White Tribe is badass and cool as hell.
Oh my God.
I think cool. We've showed them here, Jeff, right?
We have some sample. Do you have a sample pulled up? Is there any way to show it real quick before we roll out of here? I know we're at the hour 3 mark and I got to get out of here. Get some tennis speaking.
I think I can probably put a couple of tennis. I could probably put a couple up on screen here. Let me just go here and just pull a couple of them up. White Tribe members.
Mark Smithson. Badass Yetis will soon be acquiring Dunkin' Donuts. Yeah.
That's going to happen any moment, Jeff. That's bound to happen.
I don't know what Charlie Brown is wondering if we got a Corium airdrops. I'm not sure what a Corium is.
Corium is we did get the Corium airdrop.
Yes. We did.
Yeah. but that was a while ago. I mean, the
was
coin has been dropping every time.
Oh,
so
that's
I'm just
right.
I'm just gonna put a couple of them up here, Jeff. So I got to do this one by one. So as we do this, but the thing about this is these badass Yetis are it's a whole unique little sort of a thing, and then there are 7. Talk about the elders a little bit, Jeff, before as I pull these up.
So within the tribes, obviously there's 7 blue tribes, and there's going to be tribes in the white tribe, or sorry, 7 clans in the blue tribe, and there will be clans in the white tribe as well. The difference is that starting with the white tribe, there are elders. So there's an elder representing the different clans. That's where all the political decisions are made. All the tribal decisions are made by the elders. The elders are really kick-ass. We have the elders, and then the elders actually have their own little defense force as well, which is really cool. The blue tribe stands out separate because the blue tribe, there are no elders, and there's a reason why there aren't any elders, and that's all in this story, which is exciting. But here you go. Here are some of the white tribe members. And who is that, Trip? Look how
this
cool
is that's a guardian right there. So that's a guardian. Right. You can see
the guardian of the elders
right there. Then we got the Tempest.
Tempest is kick-ass.
Then we've got the Brutes.
Brutes are cool, scary, dangerous.
Then we got the Fire Ash Yetis. You can see these little guys are dirty. They're all ashy and nasty, but they got cool stuff going on too. And fire. You can see this guy's got a little fire going on. Then we got the Fire Yetis. Got the little Prowlers. These are this is kind of akin to the Pathfinder and the Blue Tribe. Then the Elders. There's an Elder right there. There's only 7 of them.
7 Elders. Only 7. Actually, that's it. Period. Yeah, 7. That's it.
There may be a couple more we might add, but anyway, you can see the Elders are, again, these are super rare. So if you get one of these Elders, it's going to be kind of nice. And then we've got the
very cool.
These little guys right here. Then we got the Yuck Yucks. They're kind of comedy relief, kind of goofy looking, funny guys. And then finally the Bandits.
The Bandits. And that's the white tribe. So super
that's the white
tribe.
So guys, get yourself, we're going to be selling out of these things. Go ahead and get yourself a badass Yeti.
The blue tribe.
Whether you get it on xrp.cafe or whether you get it over there. Also, we're working on some utility too. Some utility that, hopefully we'll be rolling out in the next month or so. But working on some utility for these things, now that lawsuit is over and wrapped, and a lot of the things Jeff and I wanted to do were debatable just because we were like, those 2 goals we have, which is stay out of court and stay out of prison. So that's always a good one too. Really appreciate that. This is great. Very hydroponics. Alan says, Chip and Jeff, always great to see you. Thanks for doing another great video. Sharing all your knowledge, community. See you on the next one. Jeff, that's our line, Jeff.
See you on the next one. Could we get some Yetis on the Aesthetis NFT marketplace?
It's interesting. We might, I think if we were to do that, we'd probably do some one-off type Yetis that would be kind of different, but interesting. Aesthetis is a pretty cool. I love that too. It's a little more on the traditional side. So I don't know if they would allow us to go on there, but that would be interesting to see if that could potentially happen. But again, so this drop that's going to come out again, the white tribe, just so you guys understand, the blue tribe is very rare. There's a lot more of the white tribe members, so you want to be able to make sure that you pick one up, grab a badass Yeti, grab a whether you want to do it on Super Mojo too, because a lot of you wanted to. We pushed us hard to do that, to make sure that it was available, because you guys wanted to be able to buy it with your fiat, which I understand. I totally get that. And the cool thing is you can actually move it, like Jeff talked about earlier. Is you can move it. You can take it and then buy it with fiat and then move it over to your wallet. So
and that's it. That's all we got. And we'll check you guys out tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central Time, and whatever time it is in your country. Just check it out, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And
thank you, and good night.
That can be arranged in the Morgan Freeman voice. I'll have to do that.
I like that one. See you
on the next one. Yeah, with AI and everything else, maybe we can go ahead and make one.
Chip and Jeff.
Tomorrow night we were experimenting with some AI rap tunes.
We're gonna play those.
We'll play those tomorrow night. Messing
Very
around
cool.
with some AI, and of course we've totally embraced AI over here. We use it for a lot of stuff. So
thank you and good night.
That's all we got, guys. We will see you on the next one. Chip and Jeff. See you guys.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.